Everything you have been told about the moon for the last 53 years is a lie designed to make you feel safe. We call it a romantic companion, a silent gray rock, a poetic neighbor, but the cosmic truth is far more brutal. The moon is not a celestial body. It is a 4-billion-year-old crime scene, a massive radioactive graveyard of violent history. And when the crew of Artemis II swung around its dark side on April 6, 2026, they did not find a conquered frontier. They found a warning. For 19,300 days, humanity has lived in a state of collective amnesia. We look up at the night sky and lie to ourselves, believing we are still the conquerors of the dark. But the reality is, we are prisoners, trapped inside the safe iron cage of low Earth orbit. For more than half a century, no human soul dared to step back into the deep void. We clung to the faded illusion of continuous greatness, but Apollo is not an eternal triumph. It is a rusting relic, a fading ghost story. The brilliant minds of 1972, the engineers who carved a path through the cosmic fire, are either frail or entirely gone. Their blueprints, once the pinnacle of human survival, are now just decaying artifacts, suffocating under decades of dust. Artemis II was not a glorious sequel. It was a desperate, frantic attempt to stitch back together a fractured legacy. It was humanity clawing at the walls of our own cosmic tombstone, trying to relearn the mechanics of survival before the absolute erasure of our species becomes inevitable. 4 fragile human beings strapped themselves into a metal time capsule, not for exploration, but to outrun the creeping decay of our own history. Do not let the pristine white panels of the returning Orion spacecraft deceive you. The cosmos did not welcome their arrival. It only waited to witness our obsolescence. As they plunged behind the far side, they endured 40 minutes of absolute oblivion, 40 minutes where the umbilical cord of Earth was completely severed by thousands of miles of solid, unforgiving rock. In that chilling silence, they did not find glory. They found the heavy, suffocating weight of 4 billion years of violence. And the data they just brought back to Earth is a terrifying reminder of our own impending end. Welcome to the excavation of our future. The moon you see from your window every night is a mask, a carefully preserved illusion of peace. Only 31% of its surface is composed of those smooth, basaltic plains we call seas. The rest? The far side is a visceral, jagged record of every blow the solar system has taken since the dawn of time. It is not a landscape. It is a 4-billion-year-old crime scene, where the evidence of ancient violence is frozen in a vacuum forever. Look at the South Pole Aitken Basin. This is not just a crater, it is a scar that spans 1,500 miles across the lunar crust. It is the deepest, oldest, and most violent impact site in the entire system. And buried 300 kilometers beneath this ruined ground lies a ghost that should not exist. A massive anomaly of dense metal weighing at least 2.18 quintillion kilograms. As a space archaeologist, I do not see a geological feature. I see a bullet. This is the metallic core of a celestial assassin, a planet-sized asteroid that slammed into the lunar body 4 billion years ago. The moon did not survive this impact. It simply stopped dying. This quintillion-kilogram corpse is still lodged inside the victim, a bullet that this world could never expel, a silent witness to a cataclysm that would have vaporized our entire civilization in a heartbeat. And then there is the granite, a massive complex of volcanic rock glowing with unnatural heat beneath the surface of the Compton-Belkovich region. Granite requires water and plate tectonics to form, things the Moon has never possessed. It is a geological impossibility, a signature of a past so alien and complex that it defies every textbook we have ever written. When the 4 humans of Artemis II drifted over this dark, chaotic terrain, they were not looking at a new world. They were looking at an ancient planetary homicide. They were 4 ants crawling over the fossilized remains of a war that happened before the first cell ever breathed on Earth. In the presence of such ancient, crushing indifference, our modern technology feels like a child's toy. We are not here to colonize. We are here to witness the wreckage of a history that does not care if we exist.
Imagine the silence. Not the quiet of a room, but the crushing physical weight of 2,100 miles of solid lunar rock standing between you and every voice you have ever known. When the Orion spacecraft plunged behind the lunar horizon, the Earth did not simply set, it vanished. In that moment, the blue cradle of humanity was extinguished, swallowed by the jagged, monochromatic peaks of the far side. This was the Earth set, a visual funeral for a world that, for 40 minutes, ceased to exist for 4 human beings. The umbilical cord of our civilization was ruptured. No radio waves, no Houston, no digital echoes, just the rhythmic, mechanical hum of a metal tomb drifting through the abyss. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere changed. You are no longer a hero of a space agency. You are a biological anomaly trapped in a titanium kiva. For 40 minutes, you are the only representatives of a billion-year history, and you are completely, utterly alone. Look at the Terminator line through their window. It is the boundary where light dies. The shadows there are not mere darkness. They are voids, jagged and extreme, stretching deep into the heart of a world that was dead before our ancestors learned to crawl. The craters below are not just geography. They are the open wounds of the solar system, frozen in a permanent scream. Navy Captain Victor Glover looked into that abyss and realized something terrifying. He said that what he was looking at was beyond what human beings had evolved to see. He was right. Our brains are wired for the rustling of leaves and the rhythm of tides. We are not built for the absolute, terrifying indifference of a planetary graveyard. We are biological software trying to run on an alien, hostile hardware. In those 40 minutes of oblivion, these 4 souls were not explorers. They were the last relics of a species that had forgotten its place in the cosmic timeline. If a solar storm had erupted in that darkness, if a single micrometeorite had pierced the hull, there would have been no cry for help, no witness to their end. The Earth would have remained blissfully unaware while its children were turned into stardust. They would have simply become another layer of microscopic debris on a surface that has been collecting the wreckage of failed worlds for 4 billion years. This is the psychological burden of the far side. It is the crushing weight of being unremembered, the realization that the universe does not hear us, does not see us, and does not care. We are a brief flicker of biological noise in a cathedral of eternal silence. When the signals finally reconnected, when the first crackle of Houston's voice broke through the void, it was not just a technical triumph, it was a resurrection. But they returned, changed. They brought back the knowledge that our legacy is nothing more than a whisper in a hurricane of time. The far side is the mirror that shows us what the end looks like. It is a place that proves Earth is just a fragile accident, a fading spark in a cold, dark room that has already witnessed the death of countless suns. But the jagged craters and the crushed rock are not the true executioners of the far side. There is a more silent, more insidious killer waiting in the dark. It is the invisible breath of the cosmos itself. Radiation.
The Artemis II mission flew right into the teeth of the solar maximum, the most violent and unpredictable peak of our star's 11-year cycle. Down on Earth, we think of the sun as a warm, life-giving force, but beyond the protective embrace of our magnetic field, it is a ruthless nuclear furnace. Out there, the moon has no atmosphere, no magnetic shield. It is entirely exposed to the raw, unfiltered fury of the solar wind. But the solar storms are only a fraction of the nightmare. The real terror comes from the deep, freezing void, galactic cosmic rays. These are not merely subatomic particles. They are the high-speed ghosts of supernovae, the violent radioactive remnants of massive stars that detonated and died millions of years ago. These phantoms travel across the universe at nearly the speed of light, carrying the energy of a cosmic cataclysm. When they strike the Orion spacecraft, they do not stop. They pass straight through the advanced titanium hull as if it does not exist. They pass through the flesh. They pass through the bone. Deep inside the bone marrow of those 4 astronauts, the invisible shrapnel of dead stars was actively tearing apart their very DNA. This is the ultimate cosmic irony. We send our greatest, most heavily trained biological specimens into a 4-billion-year-old reactor only to have their genetic legacy dismantled by the echoes of dead suns. Every second they spent in that shadow, they were bathing in the radioactive breath of a universe that wants us erased. Yet this lethal, irradiated wasteland serves a haunting purpose. It is the only place we can truly listen to the beginning of time. It is a laboratory of absolute, terrifying silence. On Earth, our ionosphere and our endless, chaotic technological noise drown out the low-frequency whispers of the early universe, the radio waves below 30 megahertz. To hear the heartbeat of the cosmos from the cosmic dark ages, the time before the first stars even ignited, we have to hide. We are forced to cower behind the massive frozen corpse of the moon, using thousands of miles of dead rock to block out the deafening, arrogant roar of our own civilization. We must lock ourselves in the quietest, deadliest tomb in the solar system just to hear the faint, dying echoes of creation. The far side forces us to confront our ultimate vulnerability. We are merely fragile bags of water and tissue trespassing in an ancient slaughterhouse. When the Orion spacecraft finally slammed into the waters of the Pacific Ocean, returning the crew of Artemis II to the world of the living, it did not bring back a trophy of conquest. It brought back an epitaph. The photographs and data sets they carried across the void are not maps for future colonies. They are the ink rubbings of an ancient cosmic tombstone. The far side of the moon stripped away our arrogance and showed us the brutal, unavoidable truth of planetary mortality. Look at that scarred, irradiated wasteland. That is not just a distant alien geography. That is a preview. A terrifying reflection of our own Earth billions of years from now. When our magnetic core finally cools, our atmosphere is stripped away by solar winds, and our blue oceans boil off into the absolute black. We obsess over leaving our mark on the universe. We dream of permanent footprints in the lunar dust, believing they will grant us immortality. But in the grand, crushing scale of cosmic time, those footprints are nothing more than microscopic scratches on a monument of death. The universe will not remember the names of our heroes. It will not remember Apollo. It will not remember us. But as an archaeologist of the cosmos, I realize that this is exactly what gives our existence its staggering value. Because our legacy is finite. Because our time on this pale blue dot is a temporary, fading privilege. We are a brief spark of consciousness in a universe marching toward total entropy. And while the far side of the moon waits in its eternal, violent silence, we must fiercely protect the fragile, beautiful light we still have left.